Hey, dude, did you see that game last week?
Which one?
The game where the team that was supposed to win actually lost?
So, all of them? Good afternoon, sports fans, and welcome to this episode of the Trajan Temple Sportcast. I am your host, professional wrestler and Kansas City Chiefs fanatic Christian Temple, joined by my side, as always, by the terrible towel twirling Trajan. How are you doing this week, my friend?
I am doing great. You
Really?
know,
Even after the
we
Chargers
won.
game?
We won.
Oh, did you stop watching after the Steelers took the lead?
Maybe. Maybe. No,
Well, that's a
I mean,
that's actually a good way to start because I guess we could start off with this week's episode of I don't want to talk about it, but for some reason I don't think that's quite true. Trajan, I think you're more than happy to talk about this week's episode.
the passion, the heart that this team showed just to fail. It
Just a
was
fail.
very disappointing. Very disappointing. But, I didn't have high hopes for the game going into it, especially since TJ, Minka, and Hayden were out. And we had, I think it was two of our offensive line injured, banged up for the game. So I'm like, oh my gosh, here we
for
go.
for those out there that may not know, the final score of the Sunday night football matchup between the Los Angeles Chargers and the Pittsburgh Steelers went as follows: 41 to 37 in favor of the Los Angeles Chargers. But it wasn't
Right.
all doom and gloom per se. It was a very entertaining game. So entertaining, as a matter of fact, I got hammered during the Chiefs game and I fell asleep during the second quarter. So I missed most of it. But from what I saw from the highlights, it seemed like it was a pretty fun game to watch.
Yeah, so we got down. It was, I believe it was 24 to 10. I'm like, here we go. Kind of had a feeling this was going to happen. Really sucks. Our defense was not stopping anything. I mean, there were holes everywhere, and so I actually did something that I can't remember the last time I did this. I actually turned off a Steelers game,
Dun dun dun!
much to my shame. But so I'm sitting there playing PS4. I look at the score, block punt.
Hmm?
Hmm. I was like, okay, okay, I'm not gonna get my hopes up. I'm not gonna get my hopes up. 24 to 17 there, and then we went ahead and scored, and it's 31, and we score again.
Mhm.
Four. I'm still not going to get my hopes up, and then I look down and see that we intercepted the ball in their territory. I'm like, oh shit,
The Cam
we
and
could
Cam
come back.
connection.
Cameron pushed that ball in the air. Cam Sutton went ahead and intercepted. Bout took his head off in the
Oof,
process,
that was a rough hit.
but he did take it.
Yep.
To get the interception there. So then we're tied up 34-34. I think I skipped the steps there, but we're tied up 34-34. I'm like, oh shit, we're gonna win. We're gonna win. We get the ball back. We go ahead and no, yeah, I was in the right order. We stop them on fourth down
hmm
in their territory. We're already in field goal range. Run the ball a couple of times, trying to get the timeout. There's like 3 minutes left. We kick the field goal. We go up 37-34. I'm like, right here, baby. This is where it happens. And of course, our defense goes ahead and fails us there
A
because, like I said, TJ, Minka, and Hayward are out.
lot of names missing.
Uh, totally dropped the ball in the coverage. Mike Williams, he goes down there, scores a fantastic touchdown there. Credit where credit's due. But so then we're down 41 to 37. I'm like, it's okay. Got Big Ben. They left us over 2 minutes left in the half. We got this. I mean, how many times have I seen this before? I mean, this is where it happens.
But then,
But then everyone decided, you know what, that old guy doesn't need to be blocked for,
oh
so he gets 2 straight sacks. We're back like third and like 32nd or something like that, fourth and 32nd, and it just kind of goes all out with a whimper.
it was like that scene from Family Guy when Stewie's playing football. All right, and no one's blocking.
Pretty much. Yeah, so no, it was a disappointing end. It was a good day, good game. I mean, it was a good Sunday night game.
Yeah,
At first,
very
it looked
very
like
entertaining. Yep.
um,
I'm gonna bring up some names here. Actually, something that you don't see a whole lot of. Alex Highsmith getting 2 sacks for Pittsburgh this week. That's a name that you don't really. That's not really one of the first ones you hear on the defensive side. But as you mentioned, with Minka being out, with T.J. Watt being out, it's that next man up mentality, and looks like Highsmith wanted to be that guy. So, what do you see in his future? Do you think you see him more often in the starting lineup, or?
yeah, so he does start on the opposite side there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, who came in for TJ is Taco Charlton.
And he got half a
Uh,
sack as well.
Yep, and so he came in there and kind of did a little bit of help there. Chris Wormley would be the other guy that came into the rotation.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Highsmith, he was one of our higher up draft picks not too long ago. He's actually why you guys have Mark Ingram.
Melvin Ingram, yeah.
Melvin Ingram, yeah,
Yep.
and he's just been balling out, um, and so no, he's been doing good. He's showing some growth. This is his third, it's either his second or third year
Okay.
there. So no, he did good. I was pretty impressed with what he was able to do.
Mm-hmm.
He got some sacks in key situations there that got us the ball back because, like I said, it looked like our defense was not going to be able to stop him. Got the ball back, but it just wasn't enough in the end. I mean, Big Ben, he had a good day. I mean, for everyone that's saying he's washed up, I mean,
28 out of 44 for 3 touchdowns, 273 yards. That's no slow day at the office. That's for sure.
yeah, no, I mean, he was just contending with Justin Herbert that had 30 for 41 and 382 yards.
There you go.
3 tuds, but 1 interception. No, it was a group effort. Najee rushing, not that much. Some of that has to go with the game situation there. We got down very early. We couldn't rely heavily on the run, but they were kind of keying in on the run. They were shutting us down.
Big game by Deontay Johnson.
Oh, yeah. Deontay Johnson, he had a big game. So did Chase Claypool. Deontay Johnson had an amazing catch. Well, actually, 2 amazing catches. Big Ben lasered it to him on the sideline there, and like nowhere for it to go. I don't know how it didn't get picked or tipped there, but he got it, and then he also had one right out the side of the end zone. So he had a stellar game. Chase Claypool had a stellar game. It just unfortunately, it just wasn't enough this week.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of stellar defensive performances, there was another game that actually was all defense. It was the total opposite of what the experts were predicting to be a total shootout. But let's hear once again from the kingdom. How about those Chiefs? The winning streak continues. They take on the red-hot Dallas Cowboys and take them down by a final score of 19-9. Holy smokes, that was an amazing effort by our defensive front. I'll get to them in a moment. Well, starting on the offensive side, Patrick Mahomes, 23 of 37, only 260 yards, no passing touchdowns. He had an interception this time. Really, that wasn't on him. That was more on Kelsey. Had it in his hands, and it just happened to pop up. And I can't remember if it was Micah Parsons that got the interception or not. It was someone, one of the linebackers that did. Good day for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Welcome back to the starting lineup. 12 attempts, 63 yards, and a very impressive running touchdown that was besmirched by the fact that he did the most unforgivable sin in all of football, and that was point at somebody. So, the taunting
Gotta
rule,
play nice, John.
the taunting rule coming back into effect again, as we mentioned in one of our earlier episodes. Tyreek Hill once again showing up big time as the top receiver. Travis Kelce, besides the one play where it fell through his hands into the opposing players, had a good day too. Byron Pringle only got one reception, but that one reception was for 37 yards, and that helped move the chains at a very key, critical time when we needed to keep the clock moving and everything. But with that being said, the defense, and one guy in particular that I am so happy that Steve Spagnuolo woke up and smelled the roses. This guy belongs in the interior causing havoc, and boy did he. And I'm talking about fellow former teammate at Mississippi State of Dak Prescott, Chris Jones. 4 sacks. 4 sacks total. I can't remember the last time he's had 2 in the same game. But he was a one-man wrecking crew. Jerron Reed got a sack. Frank Clark had a strip sack that Chris Jones recovered for a fumble. If you would have told me going to this game against this Dallas offense that our defense would hold them to no touchdowns, I don't know if I would have believed it. I truly do. Even with Amari Cooper out. Because you still had Michael Gallup. You still had CeeDee Lamb. You still had Schultz. You still had Wilson. I mean,
CeeDee Lamb
they still had one cover. Well, but at the same time, you still had Ezekiel Elliott. They had Ezekiel Elliott and Pollard. Pollard's no slouch himself, honestly. I'd love to have him as a running back too, honestly. But holy smokes! And someone else that is a surprise name to me, Charvarius Ward, getting a very key interception after the turnover that Mahomes forced. Getting it picked off into the end zone right before halftime, keeping the distance between them, a 2-score game, and that proved to be very very costly for Dallas in the end too. So once again, phenomenal defensive effort by the Kansas City defense, and I'm happy that we can ride into the bye week on such a high note. And it was announced earlier today, as we were recording this, that the Denver Broncos versus Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead has been flexed to the Sunday night slot, moving from 3:30 to Sunday Night Football. So get to see that matchup in prime time. There's still some people that think maybe Denver, this might be the year that Denver finally gets their first victory over Kansas City. I personally don't believe that, but you know what? That's I guess that's something that we will find out about Sunday night, won't we?
No, there is a chance because they did just show up lights out. Denver comes to life, and that flex game is actually worth watching, but I think it's going to be a slaughterhouse for you guys. No, credit where credit's due on your defense there. I mean, I know I've been kind of making fun of you for having their top wide receivers out, like 48% of their catches there, but no, I mean, you guys came out and you guys played. I will say it might be some worrisome on your offense there still. I mean, you're going up against a playoff caliber team and one that didn't have full strength, and it looked like your offense was kind of struggling against them, and them boys aren't really known for them defenses. So, but yeah, no. Win's a win. You come away with it. I think that's a huge confidence builder for your defense, though.
Absolutely, and that's something we definitely like to have going into the bye week, and get some more players healthy, get some players with some lingering injuries, maybe some good time to rest and recoup, and get ready for this second half stretch of the season where each game just gets a little bit more important as the weeks go by. So definitely excited to see how that week goes, but that's looking forward. We are now going to look back at last week's games. The Thursday night game is hilarious for several reasons, the biggest being the fact that the Patriots won by a final score of 25-0. And if our fans out there remember a certain Super Bowl where the Atlanta Falcons just so happened to be leading a certain Super Bowl against a certain New England Patriots team by a score of 28-3, which makes a 25-point difference. um, outside of that, though, I am starting to believe the Patriots are in fact not dead. They have shown all through the season that they are not just going to let the Bills just walk away with the AFC East crown every single year. And when we get to the Bills, we'll go more in depth on that. But as far as the Patriots themselves, they look very impressive.
Oh yeah, the defense is what's really shining in there. I mean, I just don't know if I'm completely sold on the Patriots. I mean, their schedule has been very easy for them. I mean, you look at it. Dolphins lost right at the beginning of the year. They beat the Jets, who hasn't. Saints, that was a loss there. Buccaneers, a loss. Texans, which they Texans did win this week. They lost to the Cowboys. One versus the Jets. They did actually accomplish beating the Chargers, so I'll give them that. The Panthers, Browns was a pretty spectacular win, and the Falcons there. But
yes,
I just don't know if I'm quite sold on this AFC team yet.
It will definitely be interesting how this comes down to the wire come playoff time. Who will walk away with the AFC East crown, especially now the Bills, the way they ended up. And I think you have something a little bit to say about a certain running back in this game.
Oh my gosh! Jonathan Taylor, what a game! I mean, just going out there. He had 5 touchdowns total, I believe it was.
Yes.
Four
rushing, 1 receiving. Yep.
Yep. And so 32 carries, 185 yards, 4 touchdowns rushing. Plus, like we said, he did get that touchdown in the reception category. 41-15. This isn't even close. I mean, they came out there 14-0 in the first quarter. And then just continued on scoring there. Biggest thing is Josh Allen. He cannot turn over the ball like he has been. He has not been playing smart. Not been putting his team in good situation. I don't know if he's just trying to rush his reads or what he's doing, but he just needs to get back to fundamental football there. And I think a lot of their woes would be solved. But yeah, no, great game for the Colts there, showing that they are a team to be reckoned with, that it isn't just the Titans in their division. The Bills, they have question marks.
Absolutely. So definitely curious to see how Josh Allen reacts in the coming few weeks here too. As we mentioned earlier, the New England Patriots are knocking on the doorstep. They want their rightful spot back at the top of the AFC East, and the Bills are going to have to really figure something out soon to make it work. Speaking of the Titans, we will get to them very, very soon too. But a very interesting development here with the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson pulled at the very last minute Tyler Huntley coming in at quarterback, and I guess great teams still find ways to win even when their starting quarterback is missing, especially against NFC North opponents. But the Baltimore Ravens come in. I couldn't keep a straight face on that, but the Bears really should have won this game. Honestly,
oh my gosh,
they really should have won this game. But Tyler Huntley found a way to get a touchdown to Freeman at the very end and lifts them up 16-13 at the very end. And the seat just gets hotter and hotter for Matt Nagy in Chicago.
Oh my gosh, they not only did they get fired at Matt Nagy at the Bears game, they also got fired Matt Nagy at the Chicago Bulls game. So Chicago's up in arms, but they screwed me there on I was looking at the score. I'm like, Bears are going to beat the Ravens. That's great. It looked like we're leading into this next game that the Lions were going to come back and beat the Browns. It was a final score of 13-10. They had the ball back. They had a chance to win this.
Mm-hmm.
They just could not capitalize on it. All of the Browns' points were scored in the second quarter of 13 points. And so there's a lot of question marks on Baker Mayfield right now. Maybe they're just, maybe they're not. I'm never going to be a Browns fan by any means, but he's banged up right now. I mean, you can't expect a quarterback to play at a very high level if he's in there. And I made a comment to my brother, of course, since he's the Browns fan. I'm like, why are you guys even playing him on this game? I mean, the NFC team, the loss isn't as high of a detriment to you as an AFC team is. Get him back healthy. You got a big game against the Ravens next week. Why risk him getting injured even farther on a Lions team?
That'll be very interesting next week with that matchup coming up too, and very pedestrian Baker Mayfield as well. 15 of 29 for only 176 yards. So that's the deal. And you mentioned about this Lions team. You know, they all of their wins have been very, very well. The vast majority of their wins rather have been very, very close. And it just so happened that the Browns just. They had just enough in the tank to outlast the Lions, because like you said, all of their points in the second quarter, the Lions came back within a field goal before it was all said and done.
Oh yeah, and it was Lions without Goff. I mean, I know he hasn't been playing that great this year, but their backup is terrible. Oh my gosh, why couldn't have he started last week?
No kidding, right? Backup versus backup, right? It would have made things more fair. Speaking of not fair, I don't think Titans fans think it's fair what happened to them in in Nashville. And bear with me, folks, I'm not making this up. The Houston Texans go on the road to Tennessee and take care of business. Snap a 6-game winning streak of the Tennessee Titans and take them down 22-13. Tyrod Taylor to the rescue, giving the Texans fans more false hope. Ryan Tannehill actually had a good day. It's only a shame that his good day started in the second half.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was a very wet game. I mean, it wasn't a great condition game, but I don't know on this one if they overlooked their opponents, just thinking that they're the Texans. It is a divisional matchup, so those are always going to be important. Those are always going to be the hardest hitting, even if you're a sucky team. But no, it was just crazy, and if there was ever a time that they needed Derrick Henry, that probably would have been the game.
Absolutely.
But moving on, we got an upset of the week. Well, there are several upsets, but this one is a pretty big upset.
This
Vikings.
one was a surprise to me.
Yes, I mean, the score, it's pretty close there, but it was actually Vikings up very early on. First quarter, it was 9-3. And then you get both of them score a touchdown second, third, and Packers scored 2 touchdowns to the touchdown and 2 field goals of the Vikings. But definitely a crazy game. Vikings outlast the Packers and kind of humbled Rodgers there. He had a great day though, 385 yards, 4 touchdowns. I mean, it's just the Vikings were a little bit better.
Just a little bit better, and I mentioned Packers still having a little bit of injury troubles themselves, but nevertheless, I'm sure the Vikings took the "I own you" chance personally, even though it was against the Bears. I bet in the back of their minds they almost feel the same way, so I bet they had a little chip on their shoulder too, especially Mike Zimmer, being his seat is probably getting a little warm there in Minnesota land too. Yeah. But speaking of very hot seats, the first Tank Bowl of the year, the Miami Dolphins taking on the New York Jets. Not really a whole lot to say about this one, except the return of one elite Joe Flacco back on the team.
Yep.
Although it didn't do very much for them, the Dolphins still take this game by a final score of 24-17. But anytime you see Joe Flacco on the field, it's kind of a nostalgia trip.
Oh yeah, I mean, kudos to him though. Basically comes out of what I think's retirement. I don't know where he's been. But 24 for 39, 291 yards and 2 touchdowns. That was pretty good.
Is that elite, though?
It's not good enough.
Well, it wasn't elite enough, right?
But that leads us into the Saints Eagles game, and Eagles win at home for the first time since Week 14 in 2020. So his first home win of the year.
Oof.
And so, but by a very commanding score, 40-29. Most of that was garbage time points in the fourth quarter there. So
Yeah, not
definitely
a
huge win.
not a good look for Trevor Siemian right now. Although he did mimic the worst parts of Jameis Winston by spreading the love with some turnovers there, especially one in the back of the end zone that really nearly killed the game right there. But they just had, as soon as the Eagles got rolling, they just couldn't be stopped. And right now the Saints are just, I'm sure Saints fans are just ready to have this season be over with. They had so much
Yeah.
hope and optimism at the beginning, especially when Jameis took down Aaron Rodgers in that first week.
Mhm.
And now here we are halfway through the season. They're 5-5, and most likely going to be on the outside looking in as far as playoffs. But talking about playoffs here, some playoff implications with this game. The Washington football team taking down the Carolina Panthers and the returning Cam Newton as the starting quarterback.
Yep.
And that was it's crazy. Taylor Heineke, it seems like every week it's always a new story with him. He is the quarterback of the future. They saw right through him. They figured him out too. 16 of 22, 206 yards, 3 touchdowns. When you've got Gibson in the backfield and you've got Scary Terry at your wide receiver position, and even Cam Sims got in there big time too. Even with Cam Newton with the 24-yard touchdown, the Washington football team, without their vaunted defense with Chase Young, they still found a way to win this game, and that speaks a lot moving forward into hoping to clinch maybe a playoff spot.
Yeah, I mean, I doubt that Washington will be able to get one, especially at 4-6. But who knows? Maybe they can sneak into that wild card spot. The NFC is top heavy right now.
Yes.
After those few teams, it's very open. So maybe they could. I don't think that they will. I think this next team in the 49ers would probably be one of the bigger wild card teams. I don't think they're the best team by any stretch there, but 49ers, they beat the Jaguars 30-10. Jimmy Garoppolo, I mean, not crazy stats, but did what he's expected to do. 16 for 22, very, very accurate, but 176 yards, 2 touchdowns. But he didn't have to do much. They did very good with their rush game. Deebo Samuels actually had a rush in this game. 8 carries, 79 yards, 1 touchdown. So very, very efficient day on the ground for them.
Absolutely, and I'm very excited to talk about this next one because as the weeks go by and the Raiders get worse, I get the smile gets bigger on my face. The Cincinnati Bengals on the road at Allegiant Stadium. Oh my goodness, that was beautiful to see. I didn't get a chance to watch this game, but as time went on, the more I got to see the score and that separation, I was like, this is nice. I could get used to this. Derek Carr, a pretty pedestrian day, 19-27. He did have a touchdown, 215 yards. Darren Waller being the leading receiver for the Raiders yet again, 7 receptions for 116 yards. But the big story, Joe Mixon, 30 carries, 123 yards, and 2 touchdowns. It just seems like the Raiders' defense, when it comes to the run game, they were just on their heels the whole time.
Yep. No. It looked like it was going to be a closer game at the beginning there. I was really hoping that the Raiders could take down the Bengals because, of course, they're in our division. And I think halftime it was like 10-6. So, I mean, still manageable, but Raiders just let everything go out of hand in the fourth quarter. I mean, they scored 19 points in the fourth quarter. And don't know what's going on with that. Well, I do know. I mean, it's just there's no leadership on the team. It obviously shows with the players. There's no accountability there, and there's just too many outside noise. They can't keep up with it. So I don't think you're going to be competing with the Raiders this year. I think it's you and the Chargers that are going to be battling it out.
It would most likely seem so.
But yeah, that brings us into the Cardinals Seahawks. Just Russell Wilson obviously is not back to form, which is really hurting my fantasy team because I'm very high on DK Metcalf. But Cardinals, I mean, they're doing this without Kyler Murray. I mean, this is a Colt McCoy show.
Oh my gosh!
35 for 44 attempts there, 328 yards, 2 touchdowns.
You would almost have to go. You would almost have to go back to his college days to find those stats again.
Oh yeah,
that's the crazy thing.
No, I mean the coaching staff is putting them in good positions. They're making things happen, but Seahawks not looking great on defense, not looking like anything on offense. Are 3-7. I think this is the first time in Russell Wilson's career that the Seahawks are 3-7. So definitely probably out of the playoff picture. I don't know if they're eliminated yet, but I see no way, especially in their division, them getting back into this.
You know what's interesting? At the beginning of the year, some of you may remember, we made our predictions for the NFC West, and we were comparing ours to like the experts. And some of the experts were saying Seahawks. Some of them were saying Rams. A couple said 49ers, but nobody was saying the Cardinals, and except for Trajan and myself. We thought it's like this. If this is going to be the year for the Cardinals, this is it. And so far it has. And outside of the Rams, maybe crawling back in and ripping it away at the last minute, it seems like we're pretty on hand with our prediction thus far. And you know, kudos to the Cardinals still finding ways to win, even without their franchise quarterback at the helm. I mean, Colt McCoy, I wouldn't have thought maybe he would carry this team as well as he has, but my goodness, the numbers speak for themselves. And, you know, the Cardinals, when they finally get Kyler Murray back, we will definitely see how far he can take them into the future, especially going into the postseason. They are very much in control of their own destiny. But speaking of a team,
that's without Hopkins either.
Absolutely, and even without Larry Fitzgerald that they haven't had all year.
Yep. So I mean, it's not just even Kyler Murray. It's top players that they're missing, and they're finding ways to win. So I'm impressed.
Absolutely. Something that was not very impressive was the effort of the New York Giants. They tried to keep it close towards the beginning, but it just was not enough. The Buccaneers, during the second and third quarter, just overwhelmed them, and that was all she wrote on that. Buccaneers take that by a final score of 30-10. Tom Brady, 30 of 46, 307 yards, 2 touchdowns. Mike Evans, being the top receiver, with 6 receptions, 73 yards, and a touchdown. My good friend Skate 3 Tommy, he was my opponent this week in fantasy football. He had 6 players on this game, and I was up by 44 points, and those 6 players that were in this game, which included Tom Brady, Mike Evans, the Tampa Bay defense, Evan Ingram, Kenny Golladay, Kadarius Toney, you know, so equal amounts Buccaneers and Giants players was still enough, and he found a way to beat me, and I lost by 8 points this week. So that was my week this week in fantasy football. Go figure.
Oh yeah.
But that is our show this week. As I mentioned earlier, the Kansas City Chiefs will be on the bye this week. They'll have the Denver Broncos in 2 weeks on Sunday night. The Pittsburgh Steelers will have their hands full this week, though.
Yep, no, it's keeping it in the family. It's divisional rivals, the Bengals. So they're right up above us. They're half a game ahead of us. So Need to win this. These next 2 games are very crucial to our season if we're going to be a playoff team. We got Bengals, then the Ravens. So back-to-back heavy hitting games, but need to just take them 1 week at a time, and hopefully we can win this one up.
There we go. Well, there we go, and that is our show this week. Thank you everybody so much for watching. Click like if you liked the video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all of your friends. We hope you all have a safe and fun and very fulfilling Thanksgiving, and we will catch you all next week. This is Temple and Trajan signing off.